Today's RV brought to you by your own popular request. Please keep those requests coming. You folks continue to drive this channel. And welcome everybody to Bish's RV. My name is Josh, the RV Nerd. We're recording up today at one of my hashtag Michigan sister stores in just around Grand Rapids, Michigan. And this 202 Surveyor here, like when I first looked at the floor plan, I just went, oh, another manufacturer making the exact same thing as everyone else. And I am so glad I didn't just stop and didn't just purely judge the book by its cover, because there's some really cool things going on in this. And you know, I think a lot of people who are very familiar with this channel might say, oh, that's a lot like a 2205 Rockwood. Personally, I think it's a little similar to the Apex or Heritage Glen sister floor plans, but let's not worry about that. What does this thing have to offer? How about the fact that it gives us a true 60 by 80 queen bed, a floor flush theater seat or dinette or hide-a-bed slide out, and tandem axles under 5,000 pounds drive weight. Drive weight? Dry weight. Well, I guess drive weight. Whatever, you get the idea. That is, like, there are not a lot of other RVs that bust out that list of qualities under 5,000 pounds empty weight. Now, obviously, you want to keep an eye on your maximum GVW weight when you start factoring in towing things, but the fact is, this is a small, very lightweight camper with an extra tall ceiling, full-size bed. I can stand in the shower without my head in the bubble, which is so normal in the RV industry, giving you tandem axle confidence in towing with an enclosed belly, a basic battery tending solar package, carpetless, ventless flooring, and just like just the little cool kitchen details they're doing. This is awesome. The funny thing is, it's like Surveyor will do all these really cool features, and then like they just will chintz out on a couple little things, and they're usually not major detail factors, but I'm going to show you the good with those factors as we go here today. And I would really like to know from you. I'm going to leave you a bunch of links in the video description. Watch this video, then check out a couple comparable models, and you tell me which is the very best one. And I'm telling you, you know, there's layouts very similar, certainly. This one has a couple really standout qualities. The trick is, like, I never know where to begin with a model like this, so I'm actually sitting over here in the slide out to kind of give you the, you know, the driver's seat point of view. And one of the things I kind of keyed into when I did that was the window coverage on it. Because from the outside, it doesn't feel like there's awesome window coverage. But there's 3, windshield number 4, slide side breeze through window number 5, not to mention the panoramic window to the left beyond that. I mean, you're surrounded by 8 windows sitting here. So the visibility and the airflow, overall, pretty good. Now that TV can pivot around, so if you want a more direct facing view, you can. We're gonna kind of demonstrate that a little bit later here in this video. Once again, a major quality on this one, not a shorty bed. That is a true queen, and I know the slip cover on that looks terrible because I probably had my knee on it and like twisted getting some of this footage or something like that. And depending on which seating setup you go with, you have a couple different dining options. We'll talk about more of that in a minute. First of all, carpetless, ventless, although you do have, well, ventless flooring. And this is an interesting little thing they do. They have a centralized vacuum here with all the pool cleaner hoses, or the dentist chair air hose when they're like, okay, rinse, and you're like, anyway, just me, never mind. With the electric toe kick, I like to call electric dustpan, basically. This is all sealed edge thermal foil countertops. Notice right down at counter level, you've got some household and USB outlets there. But when I took a seat over here in the hide-a-bed that we're looking at today, I spotted the extra outlets overhead. I was like, ooh. This cutting board right here, I love that. I really, really like that. And just, I don't know, the whole thing in general, I'm liking. You're looking at a 12-volt DC compressor fridge there. But one of the things that I want to showcase for you here is the fact that this RV has a taller ceiling and also has central air. I've seen a couple smaller versions, lighter versions like this, but not with central air, because that's the thing about this floor plan. There's plenty of manufacturers who make a floor plan like this. They are heavier and they are shorter inside than Surveyor is. This RV is a rare find. It's an extremely lightweight trailer
that is very good if you're taller than the average bear. Hey, boo-boo, picnic basket. I found out my daughter doesn't know who Yogi Bear is, and I also found out she doesn't know who Bugs Bunny is. And I also found out I'm not even her favorite YouTuber. So, while you're taking a look at all the functions of this lagoon table and this hide-a-bed, I want to kind of explain the fact that you have, by default, this is a dinette model. The hide-a-bed with the lagoon table is an option. There's also a theater model, so I'd be kind of curious, what seating would you prefer to go with on this thing? I do kind of like the way this is set up, though. This works. The storage under and around the bed is fantastic. The double drawers, hanging towers, and they're putting struts on the overhead cabinet doors. Like a ton of manufacturers don't do that. This is a brand that is very sensitive on budget factors, and yet they're nailing those strut kind of features, you know, the ZZ Top struts. I was actually very surprised recently. Rockwood, a brand that I really, really like and respect personally, they silently got rid of their overhead cabinet door struts. I was very, very surprised by that, not in a positive way. So seeing Surveyor do it over here is like, oh yes, absolutely, give me good feels. The kitchen counter space, the storage is fantastic. But you might have noted, I love that cutting board backsplash behind the stovetop. You can use it to defend yourself from the gas station murder hobos what come to get you. But they didn't finish the backside of it. And I know there's nothing physically wrong with that. And I know that most of the time it's going to be, you're only going to see the good, but like why cut that corner? And it's little things like that. Surveyor does so many really, really good things. They will not do a little piddly thing like that, but it makes you ask the question, well, what else didn't they do? And they didn't not do anything major. It's just dumb little stuff like that I wish they kind of just touched up the details. But that's just my 2 cents. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. I do really appreciate the fact that they gave us a spot right there to hang a couple jackets, though. That's it. By the way, did you know a coat and a jacket are not the same thing? Does anybody know the difference between the two? Because I do. Over here, another surprising find, a porcelain foot flush stool. Awesome! But the toilet paper holder, I just about, ninja chopped that sucker right off there. I'm not a big fan of open face storage, especially dead on the rear wall of an RV like this. And they are using the dollar store 4-inch fart fan, but frankly, almost everybody is. And I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm just saying it's normal. There was a really cool thing. Look at the bottom of this medicine cabinet mirror. Little toothbrush holder. So your toothbrush head will sit here. All you're going to see is the toothbrush handle, stick, whatever, hanging down. And of course, you got your storage for your lipitorage up in there. And speaking of up in there, the headroom. Oh, baby. The headroom in this thing? I couldn't have been much happier because, again, it's a lightweight trailer with a very rare quality. It is friendly for those of us who are, we oppose gravity with our height. Let's just kind of say that. And I tell you what, I'm becoming more and more impressed and happy with the execution that they've applied here to this layout. That lagoon table, you know, the daytime dining work function, that was obviously great, but the way that it swings out of the way means if you need to, you could just snake your way around that big chunk of countertop and get your way up here to that true queen bed. And this thing is very travel stop and frankly travel stayover friendly because you've got the sleeping up there. You could always grab a bite to eat at the little elevated island because you really shouldn't be occupying the sofa when the slide is closed. That type of slide mechanism is not made for that. No, really, no towable RV really is that anyone can prove. And we're right, with the door being right next to the bathroom and the fridge, you are just snacktastic in your access over here. You know what? For a lightweight, like half-ton towing and going traveler, this thing is awesome.
And my 2 cents here, I do think this is an RV that nicely qualifies for the generalized description of half-ton towable. With the size, the tandem axles, the weight, it feels very half-ton towable to me, even in those more pardon me, adverse terrains, windy environments, things like that. I think that this one would handle pretty darn nicely, and obviously you got a bigger vehicle, or if you have something like a largest class SUV with a good heavy-duty tow package, like the big bulky Expeditions, I can see this thing working. You might notice how it's slide awning prepped. Our cross breeze windows on the side there looking awful good. The white exterior on this is going to really help in those hotter climates as well by helping shed a lot of the sun out of there. And speaking of that, if you are in hot sunshine climate, you are going to want to keep that windshield probably covered up, not just with the shade inside, but put a layer of that foil reflectic stuff in there and just help keep the heat out. Speaking of heating, the underbelly is enclosed and heated. They have this sticker by the door, Arctic package. Well, you know, these aren't like 0 degree tested and proven. I think that this would be a solid extended season camper. Basically, unless you're going to be camping when there's snowflakes flying, this one's probably going to do the trick for you. Now, you might notice that piece of paneling is down over there. We do have that face off because that's how you get to the water pump for winterizing. I like the motion lighting in the pass-through over here. I wish it was kind of on both sides of the RV, but I can live with this. And you see the little hex nut adapter for your drill bit so you can NASCAR pit crew your stabilizers there. And I mentioned the underbelly, but I'm sure you'd probably like to be able to, you know, just get a little look at it for yourself. You see that little white thing hanging down? That is the gas grill hookup for the propane cooker hooker. And they do a little bit different condensed camp kitchen here. And I want you to kind of hear me out here, because there's a lot of manufacturers that do a small camp kitchen where it's just a refrigerator behind and just above a griddle. The problem is if you're cooking on that griddle, you often can't get to the refrigerator. So what they do is they make the griddle slide aside. And if you don't want to use the griddle, you see how there's that like grease splash behind it? You can also just use it as prep space. And what that created was this extra little pocket here. But because the griddle tray has to slide in, they can't do a real sink that's plumb. So they do the dog dish sink, and you see the little garden hose hookup for the coily sprayer to the left over there. So it's not a real sink. And that's kind of a bummer. But consider the fact that they made it so that their miniature camp kitchen can use the griddle and the fridge at the same time. So even if the sink, even if you do feel it's crappy, it's still better than what most manufacturers are offering you. Not to mention the fact they did a really good job with the awning space, pretty much maximizing it to its greatest possible degree here. The RV's construction, they use a lot of aluminum laminated construction in these. That's one of the reasons the weight is so low on these. They're one of the very few manufacturers still built like a historically true ultralight, basically. The roof ladder there, it is nice that they are offering that for that fully walkable roof. Give you a peek up top there. One of the things you're seeing is their basic battery tending solar package. It's not like massive. It's not going to power the air conditioner off grid. It's just going to try to keep the battery alive while the RV's in storage and keep it topped off. And if you are going to be off grid camping or something like that, it'll just help you extend the use of like 12-volt lights and fans. It's not going to offset that 12-volt fridge for like a 2-week adventure or anything like that. I don't want to oversell what it does, what it doesn't have. I always try to be very fair about what we're looking at here, because you spend a lot of money on this and you work hard for that money. So hard for it, honey. Black tank flush over here. The slide walls, I'm blanking on the construction. They are laminated. They are fully solid all the way around. This window right here, I don't think I mentioned this on the inside. That doesn't open for airflow. They're going to call that like a maximum view panoramic window. It'd be nice if it did open for airflow. But again, at least you have the slide side windows over there doing the job. Overall, I got a pretty decent positive impression of this little guy right here. Surveyor's an interesting brand. Even though they, the Legend series all kind of has, several slight little differences. Sorry for the pause. I didn't want to get run over by the Amazon truck, because they don't wait for nothing, man. Jeff Bezos is like, you're getting your delivery. And I'm like, all right, Jeff, why is your rocket shaped like that? So check those links in the video description to check on pricing, availability, and again, please take a look at a couple of those comparable models if you're not familiar with them, and let me know, which one would you go with and why? I'd love that feedback. I'd love that. I'm, like I said, there's a couple things on this that make me go, oh, so close, guys. But at the same time, what they did accomplish in less than 5,000 pounds, I wouldn't turn my nose up at it. I'm like, this has kind of given me almost a whole new feel of Surveyor. Every time I go through them, I'm liking them a little bit more, and this, I personally feel, might be their very best executed floor plan that I've seen. And I know that everybody does this layout, but I like what they did here. This is a good camper. This is a very good camper. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.